a lot of us, we know what our strengths are, and we just relax. We never develop those strengths even further. And sales, really, when you focus on your strengths, that's when you win, right? And I have a very weird definition around sales, because people, like I said, think sales is about you're the smoothest guy, you outthink people, all of that. And really, sales is you're solving a problem, and then you go have a conversation with someone about the problem and how you're going to solve it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Alright, what's up everybody, Sanbona and Dumelang. Welcome to the Ebozi show, where we try to put together some amazing content to help inspire you, help educate you, help really elevate your thinking with some real insights that you can apply in your business, in your career, with people who are real industry trailblazers. So thank you for tuning in and checking this out. I am so excited with today's guest, the guy that I look up to, a guy that I admire, a guy who is just a sales beast. So make sure that you get a pen, get us something to write with, because you want to take notes. You're going to want to listen to the wisdom that this man has to share. But he hails from KZN, the University of KwaZulu-Natal, where he completed a BCom in economics and taxation. And while he was at university, he founded an entrepreneurial and management association. His career took off in Procter Gamble, where in the space of 9 years, started off as a key account manager and ended up being the head of retail for the customer team. He moved over to Unilever, where he was the head of personal care, the team lead for foods and one of the customers, and ended up being the customer director at Unilever. And today, he's the country sales director at Energizer. Yes, Energizer. And when he's not being badass leading sales team, crafting amazing sales strategies, he's also into music. DJ, phenomenal producer, and just all-rounder talented guy. So Thabani, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. An incredible honor.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Really. Career of what, 15 years?
Yeah, when you put it like that, yeah, it feels like a long time.
Feels like a long time, eh?
More like, it sounds like a long time. It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Yeah,
actually.
Which is a good thing. I mean, if it doesn't feel like that, it means that you enjoy it. It means that you get a lot of energy from it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I'm curious though, like, where did it all begin?
It's weird, right? So the sales thing has never been my thing. Like, I've never thought of myself as a salesman.
Really?
Right? Yeah. I mean, even at varsity, like when we were starting the Entrepreneurial and Management Association, it was just 2-3 guys just thinking, how can we make money? How can we find a way to fund things that we want to do?
Sure,
right?
Sure.
And we had there was 3 of us, and the 3 of us were literally best friends.
Yeah.
And we were bored, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so we started thinking about, okay, so how do we get into the first of all, the biggest issue, right, was how do we get money to do things that we want to do. And things that we wanted to do was have fun, have parties, be able to do, how can I put it, there was always an element of community inside of it, right, for us, in terms of, we felt that at the time, university doesn't really teach you how to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So we get taught how to do a job.
Yes.
And having spoken to a couple of people who were actually working at the time, we realized that actually, even we're not actually taught how to do a job. You actually start getting taught how to do a job when you do a job. Which is, for us, was crazy. So some of us were, like, 2 guys were doing management, as part of their electives at varsity, and through stuff they were learning there, we were like, why don't we start something which will drive entrepreneurship, but also get students who are management students to actually get experience before they start working. You know? But obviously the first thing was we needed to get ourselves into that space of actually being entrepreneurs. And fun fact, the one friend was so forward thinking. Like even to this day, I'm amazed at how brilliant he was. So he actually came up with the idea of a Wi-Fi. We didn't know it was Wi-Fi at the time.
Okay.
Right. So his concept was around, why don't we go, if we go to a hotel, how about you being able to access the internet from your room or from anywhere, you know, within the hotel itself.
Yeah.
We went to, it was in Durban, we went to, I think the Holiday Inn or something.
Yeah.
In Durban, and we set up a meeting with the IT guy.
So you guys are like university students, just coming up with these ideas, literally knocking on the door saying,
this is what we think we want to do.
It's crazy.
But remember now, it's 2002.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
internet
is
nobody
just
knows.
starting, you know. And the guy told us straight up that the idea will never work.
Sure.
He said it doesn't make sense. It'll never work. You know, we were so heartbroken. We went to, I think, 3 hotels and got rejected.
Sure.
And that was the end of that idea.
Yeah. And look when you look back now,
I'm like,
hotel manager must be kicking themselves.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'd actually like to meet that guy and ask him how he feels about that.
That's crazy.
You know?
Yeah.
So it was, and that was, I think before that it was very passive in terms of wanting to do, but that ignited something in terms of how do you actually, it's not that bad actually. You can actually, the people actually do want to meet with you. They do want to talk, you know, and it's always about what are they going to get out of it.
Yeah.
And I think, and then I applied for a job at Procter Gamble.
I mean, Procter Gamble is not just a small company; it's like a big global juggernaut.
Exactly. So I didn't think I was going to get in.
Really?
By the way.
But you must have had like the balls to just take a chance, or was it just, you know, let me throw CVs out there and see what lands?
So I threw CVs everywhere.
Okay.
Why I was a bit more confident about Procter Gamble was, first of all, 2 of my friends got in.
Okay.
But the second piece was they didn't ask for marks.
Okay, that's interesting.
So every other company requests marks.
Sure.
Like, what are your transcripts? Are you passing? How well are you doing? And P&G didn't really care about that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh well.
Which is an interesting philosophy, you know, for organizations to look outside of that, because I've also been interviewed by a few companies. Some do intense like analysis around your academics, and others it's completely different.
Correct.
You know, and it's important to be balanced, I think.
Exactly.
You know,
and look, the whole concept around Procter Gamble, which I've adopted for me as well, was around, you know, the varsity for me. What it represents and what it proves is that you can have an idea and see it to completion.
100%.
That's all.
Yeah.
It doesn't prove how smart you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't prove how amazing you are. It doesn't prove any of the other things, right? Like for me, I never really focused on like the schoolwork and the marks and so forth. And I hope my parents are not watching that. You know what I mean? It was never my thing.
100%.
I was more into the social life, the other part of varsity, really engaging with different people. In fact, people at varsity thought I was a music student.
Really?
Yeah. The BCom students weren't quite sure, but they knew I was BCom, but the music students thought I was music student.
That's crazy.
So because I just engaged with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
So I think that's what P&G saw, you know, coming in. And in choosing even my career at Procter Gamble, by the way, was a strange one as well, because so you choose what career you want to do, right? So I'm doing a BCom, obviously finance is what I want to do. So that's, and you have you have to choose 2 of the places that you can get in. So I chose finance as number one. And then I saw this thing called customer business development. Yeah. Which sounded fancy. And I imagined myself telling someone that I work in customer business development.
So you had no idea.
0.
You just saw the name, you're like,
I just saw the name and I was like, I will choose customer business development because it sounds fancy. I go for interviews, and it turned out, it's sales. Got nervous because I'm not a salesman. Right? That's what we all tell ourselves. I am not a salesman. And P&G was like, based on how you answered questions, and even through the interview stage, we actually believe you're more of a salesman than a finance person. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, finance is a career that everyone knows. Sales, knocking on doors, going door to door, and that was my perception of what sales was. And I get in there, and the sealer, right? So obviously sales guys were gonna win. Like they were gonna be able to convince me to move into sales. But how they sealed the deal was, they said, the difference between finance and sales is that in sales you get a car.
I mean, straight from Boston.
It was a no-brainer.
Like, oh,
you know what
my
I mean?
Goodness.
And boy, oh boy, I was like, that car was for me the deal maker. I signed based on that. So nothing inspiring about I thought of myself as a sales. No, it was the car, and that's how I got in. And then the training started coming through. P&G spent a lot of time with training. And I still had in the back of my mind this thing about Unilever, right? Because I applied to Unilever, strangely enough, and Unilever rejected me.
Really?
Right? I didn't have the marks.
So you're really swinging for, these are the two big juggernauts of consumer goods in the world.
You know what I mean? And to me, my belief system ever since I was a kid has always been about, if one person can do it, surely I can do it. Right? Like, everything that I've succeeded in has been because I've put in the effort. Everything that I've failed in is because there's something I didn't do. It's not because of someone else. Right? And that's always been my belief system. Yes, do you have people who are roadblocks and so forth? Yes, there are. But I find that more times than anything is that every single thing where I failed, I can actually pinpoint that actually I didn't do this, and I didn't do that, and I didn't do that.
That's quite hard though, because a lot of people will attribute success to themselves.
Correct.
But they'll never attribute failure to themselves.
And that's the thing.
But I've seen that, to have that mindset where you almost blame yourself for everything.
Dude, I had to fail so many times.
I
mean, when I started at P&G, I started with 3 people. Like, imagine, they've scoured the whole country and they only hire 3 for the department.
Sure.
So already they're making me feel like I'm special.
Yeah.
Right? But then 4 or 5 months into starting at P&G, the other people are miles ahead. Like, they are amazing. Like, they are brilliant. Like, everyone is saying how amazing these people are and how crap I am.
Sure.
In fact, one of the agencies we work with told me specifically that it's a good thing I work for P&G, because if I worked for them, they would have fired me a long time ago.
Sure.
This is within 6 months of working. Broken. Like, I was sitting there going, jeez.
That's tough.
It is, you know what I mean? And I had a lot of reasons as to why I wasn't on the same level as the other guys. Firstly, I was based in Durban. Head office was in Joburg, right? I had issues with emails. I had, a whole lot of reasons as to why I was behind. But they weren't good enough, because the reality is the reality. The reality is I'm behind these guys, and the question is, what do I need to do to really be on the same level as them? Later on in the year, I moved to Joburg, and then really started, but even from Durban, I started like engaging with a lot of people who were in Joburg, making sure that people who were in Joburg, if they were in Durban, I met up with them to really understand like the company a bit better and the culture of the company. And based on what they had seen in the first 5 months, and around August, September that year, they saw a massive change, right? And they're like, wow, we're seeing a lot of proactiveness, we're seeing a whole lot of that. And then I moved to Joburg, and these guys were still ahead. I mean, they were promoted probably 6 to 8 months ahead of me to the next level. And that was hard. Because when I engage with them, and they were also like, we don't understand why we are ahead of you, but like you know, and it was hardcore.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like a lot of you know, you get this victim mentality, and then you start moving into the most amazing one, which is, I think it's because I'm black.
Yeah, sure. But where do you go to dig yourself out of that? Because it's easy to get consumed in that, and then start defining yourself as, okay, I'm third best. This is it. Like, and then you get into the danger of accepting that.
So I found someone who had been at Procter Gamble 2 years longer than I had.
Okay.
And really started engaging with them in terms of what are the things that I need to do. Obviously, at that time, it wasn't about I want to be the best at what I do, but it was around how do I get promoted? And that was the conversation.
Really? And what kind of things that they share with you?
And so the most important one was around, you know, everybody does a lot of good things, especially in corporate. Like, there's a lot of people that I know who do a lot of good work, but no one knows that they're doing good work. Right? And it's not about going, look at me, look at me, look at me, this is what I'm doing. But it's around, you know, when you do great work, how do you showcase the great work? Because, and it's weird that years later, someone put it, I read, I was listening to Les Brown, who was a phenomenal speaker, and he was like, it's not about, it's not about what people know. It's not that, you know, it's not about who you know, but it's rather who you know and what they know about you.
What they know about you. That's so important.
You
like,
know what I mean?
A big thing that I notice in a lot of people is we have a habit of collecting failures. So all the things that we fall short in, where we disappoint ourselves, we disappoint others, we don't hit the target, someone said this, we collect those things, and they scream the loudest in our lives. Even though we're kicking ass, you know, even though we've got our foot in the door in these organizations, and we have access to all these resources, and every day we come in and work with phenomenal brands, and we get to, you know, interact with buyers at a big scale. We don't see all that, you know, because we're in the habit of collecting all these failures.
And that's the thing.
And when you look at people who are really like phenomenal trailblazers, it's the converse.
Correct.
They're aware of their failures, they're aware of their disappointments, but they realize that it's the wins that are going to take you forward.
Exactly.
So you need to make sure that you collect those wins for yourself. So internalize them. And then that's how naturally they will be evident in your engagements with other people.
But I mean, like when I'm doing interviews, right?
Yeah.
Like when I interview someone, like if I'm going to place someone into a position, I don't care about your weaknesses. I really don't, really. I need you to be aware of them, but I actually care more about your strengths, because you know what? I can find someone who's strong in your weaknesses, and then you balance each other out, right? The issue with focusing, I think, on your weaknesses is that you start diminishing your strengths.
Yes.
So what you're really strong on, because you're not focusing on that anymore, and you're not building that even more, then you start not being great at that.
100%.
And you start being okay at this, so you end up being average, right? Whereas I believe if you really focus on the strengths, and that's what you really drive a lot more, then that will far outweigh all the negative areas.
Yeah, definitely.
Now don't get me wrong, if your development area, and that's what I like to call them, if your development area is detail, you've got to have some level of detail in order to be successful, because you don't want to make some mistakes, you know, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be a strength.
Yeah.
You gotta improve on it, but it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be spending 90% of your time on that. You should rather be spending 20% of your time on that area, because it's so critical. But the other 80% should be on your strengths, 100%. Because that's what you're good at.
Yeah.
That's what gives you energy. Definitely. That's what you naturally, you know. Yeah. And I think a lot of us, we know what our strengths are, and we just relax. We never develop those strengths even further. And sales, really, when you focus on your strengths, that's when you win, right? And I have a very weird definition around sales, because people, like I said, think sales is about you're the smoothest guy, you outthink people, all of that. And really, sales is you're solving a problem, and then you go have a conversation with someone about the problem and how you're going to solve it.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think for me, where sales like becomes so special is where who you are becomes evident very quickly, because in that interaction with that client, with that customer, with that customer representative, in that interaction, the dynamics will reveal how your character, your fortitude, your ability to think on your feet, your ability to empathize and understand where they're coming from. So it's quite a vulnerable space to be in. And I think that's what scares people, because it's easy for me to have a perception about someone else. And have a perception about the role. I think a lot of people have this perception about sales.
That is like this
thing. You know?
Yeah,
but do you have a perception about yourself?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I always say, if someone says, I'm not into sales, I'm not in sales, I ask them, do you speak to people?
100%.
Yeah, I speak to people. Okay. Yeah. Have you ever convinced a friend to go out to a party? Yes, I have. That's sales.
100%. Have you ever gone for a job interview? That's where I start. Like, if you've ever gone to a job interview,
that's sales.
You're pitching yourself.
but that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
But and that's why I like to even move it even a step away and go, if you've tried to convince a friend to go to a party, then you're in sales. Because what do you look at? You need to convince them why it's going to be beneficial for them to go to the party.
Yeah.
Right?
Or convince your parents why they should let you go.
Why they should let you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you are literally selling. So what are you looking at? You're looking at what are the benefits that they're going to have, right? This is the benefits of you going, this is how it's going to help you, and blah, blah, blah. So you're already thinking about the consumer.
Yeah, yeah.
Your friend is the consumer, and you're trying to pitch to them, you know? So if you look at it from that way, then sales is not really that complex. Right? And then other people are really good at that.
Yes.
But they're not good at the executing part. And the executing part is what separates like the great from the average. So I'll give you an example. So you have two people, they go see a customer, right? And they both pitch exactly the same thing, right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to do it so well, blah, 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 blah. This is what it's going to do for you. The customer is convinced. They go, yeah, it's great. So when can we do this? The one person goes, we can do it right now.
Yeah.
From tomorrow we can have it.
100%.
We can start.
Yeah.
The other person goes, I need to do some analysis and
I'll
then
get back to you.
You know, I'll get back to you. You know, maybe next week.
You've missed the closing opportunity.
It's done.
Yeah.
You've lost. And that's the difference. Others talk a big game and they say, yeah, we can start tomorrow, and then they don't start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Lots of and from an entrepreneur perspective, which is why sales is so important, I think, for entrepreneurs, is that lots of entrepreneurs, when I engage with them, they talk a big game, but they don't match that with action.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with you saying, I am this big when you are this big. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But if you're not honest when I'm sending you emails and you respond 3 days later, or and I call you and you don't answer the phone numerous times, but you don't return the call, and I'm the one chasing.
Just basics.
These are basics.
Just get the basics right.
And a lot of people lose there.
Yeah.
And people think, no, I lost that business because of other reasons. But it's the basics, because if you think about yourself, when let's say you have a loved one and you send them like a WhatsApp, simple thing like a WhatsApp, and you can see they've read it and they don't respond. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's hurtful.
You're upset, right? You go, why are they not responding? Like, you get really upset. Now imagine this person has 10 million rand.
That's critical, because for me, I always tell people that when it comes to sales, most of your pitch does not come out of your mouth.
No.
All right?
No.
What comes out of your mouth is just a fraction. It's like 5% at most.
Correct.
All right? Most of your pitch is everything else.
Yes.
Your professionalism, your respectfulness of time, how you put together your whole product offering, the team around you, how you engage, the tone, the body language, all those things are critical.
No, but it is.
You know? And people think sales is more the 5%. It's more the gift of the gab.
No.
You know, if I'm able to be eloquent and articulate and smooth, that's just like, that's not sales at all.
if it was about the gift of the gab,
yeah,
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I do.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm more of a personable person, so I prefer one-on-ones versus big crowds.
Yeah.
So I prefer really that. I come out more there. But you even there, like I'll give you an example, because I still make the mistakes, right? Even to this day, and that's the whole point, is that you keep learning, right? So I joined the organization and I have to go see a customer.
Okay.
Right. I leave. The customer is probably 15 minutes from these offices.
Okay.
Right. So I leave like 25 minutes from the start of the meeting.
Okay.
Got myself 10 minutes. I'm good.
And you'd never been there before?
I have.
Okay.
In fact, I have, but when I was working for another organization.
Okay.
But I've never met the person I'm going to meet.
You're going to meet, all right.
Right? I get there, literally almost as I get there, there's a roadblock. Right?
Yeah.
The roadblock is not that long, but I get there 5 minutes after the meeting's supposed to start.
Sure.
Right? And now, whose fault is it? Is it the roadblock?
No.
Or is it me who left it too late? Was 10 minutes really enough for me to actually be there? Because the reality is, when you get to the meeting, you get there, right? And you have to compose yourself. You have 100%. To really think about the meeting and prepare yourself for the meeting.
Because it's your first meeting.
Exactly.
Like if you built a relationship and rapport and have given yourself enough.
Yeah, then I can give the guy a call and say, listen, I'm running a bit late.
Yeah.
And because they know me, it'll be okay, right? And by the way, it wasn't the first time, right? When I worked at Unilever, a similar thing happened. I'm never late for a meeting, ever. But this one time, I needed to be in Joburg, right? So I flew in the morning for a 9:30 meeting.
Sure.
The plane lands at 8 in Cape Town. The meeting starts at 9:30. The reality is, the plane lands at 8. It will take me at least 30 minutes just to get out of the plane to go to the car hire place, and another 10 to 15 minutes just to get my car, and then from there to the customer's offices, it was a 30-minute drive. But it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
Traffic.
So anything can happen, right? Usually I'm fine, but on this day, I got there at 9:30 or 9:35. But guess what happened? Karma, right? So what happened was, the person who was supposed to take me to the meeting didn't check that I was there. They were not at their desk, and so I only got to the meeting about 5 to 10.
Sure.
Right? Meeting started at 9:30. And guess what? My boss is there in that meeting, and his boss is in that meeting.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was insane.
Difficult lessons to learn.
You know what I mean?
The moment. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it took that one moment for the attitude to change, right? Because I could have, like, especially my boss, because he was new. It was more on a positive note. But after that, it's his first experience of me. Doesn't matter that the previous boss knows that I'm never late, and this is a once-off.
That's the first impression.
But for him, that's the first impression. And so I'm late, and he doesn't know that I've been there since 25 to. All he sees is, there's an hour meeting, this guy rocks up at 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And the meeting ends at 10:30.
Yeah.
So, how serious is this person? And that's part of sales, right? That, like, how you carry yourself. Are you on time? Are you prepared? How prepared are you for whatever conversations you're about to have? Because that's what it is. It's conversations. So the conversation is literally not. People have made up their minds, right? So back to this one, the one where I was 5 minutes late. I get there, meeting the person for the first time again, and then we spent probably 45 minutes because he was upset, and only near the end of the meeting was he more open
to hear what you really have to say.
I've wasted 45 minutes. Right, I had to set up another meeting, which I've made sure I was on time now.
Yeah.
But to build a rapport and all of that stuff, you know, that meeting ended up being about that. Me proving to him that I was actually good at what I do, if that's what you want to call it. You know? And that's what people forget. That's what people they think getting the meeting is the win. That's the getting the meeting is not the win.
It's not the win. It's definitely not the win.
That's just the knock.
100%. Right? Anyone can knock.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want the person to open the door, welcome you to their place,
yeah. And when you're in there,
offer you know what I mean?
100%.
And that's why I say, for me, action is far bigger than the actual.
And it's critical, because another thing that I like about what you're saying around it being a conversation is that in a conversation, it's important that you listen.
Correct.
You know, I remember when I was starting in my career in sales, I spent a lot of the time just learning about the product, the proposition, why this is better than competitors, why this makes sense for your business. And I wanted to come in and just impress them by my knowledge.
Correct.
And just ba.
Mistake one.
I wasn't interested whether they needed it or not. I just wanted to impress them with my knowledge of the product. And you just go in there and you spend like 30 minutes just talking.
Yes.
And a person's just looking at you like thinking, what the hell is going on?
And by the way, you've been trained that way. So that's the other issue, right? Is that, the training has been, this is how you sell. This is how you sell. But it's never been about the listening part. You know, I've had so many meetings where I was geared. This is what I was gonna do. This is the goal and the objective of this meeting.
Yeah.
And I come out with a different result.
Yeah.
Which was even better than the objective.
Exactly.
Because you're having a conversation with someone, and then they start sharing other information that you were not privy to, and you go, oh, yeah, but if, and then you start piecing things together, you know, in the conversation with them.
100%.
And those are the things. The listening is, I would say, 99%.
That's such an important piece, because I remember, you know, I was also at Unilever, and I left Unilever, and I went to Investec.
Correct.
And there it's much more intimate, but the stakes are high, all right? Because it's intimate with people who are like captains of industry, high net worth individuals.
Yeah.
And by the time I was already much more mature in my career and had understood really what sales was, and had never worked in a bank before, even though I had some corporate finance experience, but banking was something new to me. And I started off very, very humble to be like, you know what, I'm going to learn, you know? And most of the meetings I set was just for me to get to know people. I said, listen, there's no agenda here. Correct. I don't want to push anything. I don't want to tell you about this great asset, this great nothing.
Correct.
I just want to get to know you.
Exactly.
And the beauty of that, the beauty of people just wanting to share who they are and share their experiences and where they come from, is that actually is where the opportunity is.
Correct.
I always tell people that if you listen carefully, people will actually tell you what they want to hear. Yes. But the trick is in listening carefully. Correct. You know? And from there you're able to say, all right, investment opportunity here, investment opportunity here. All right, cool. But at that point, you just want to listen, get to know. And then from there, it becomes much more easier to sell in position.
And by the way, they expect you. They go in with the expectation that you're going to sell to them. So when you do the opposite,
it's kind of refreshing.
And people go, I wonder, what else this person, you know, I had a good conversation and I want to be able to chat to this individual. And it's funny because when people think of entrepreneurs, when they think of salespeople, they think, we are there to just
like sell, close, bombard people,
And don't get me wrong, a lot of us do.
Yeah.
Because, we're talking about listening, right? So everyone knows that in sales and in any situation you have to listen, right? But other people will make the mistake of listening to respond, right? So you're not really listening, right? Because you're just waiting to respond.
I just want to make my point.
So he said this, so I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
Or she said this, and I'm going to say that. That's another mistake. So you're not really listening, because you are making it about yourself.
100%.
When you're an entrepreneur, it's not about you.
It isn't.
It's never been about you.
It isn't.
Right? It's about the consumer.
Yeah.
I mean, so many times people go, I'll give an example. This product will never work in Soweto. And I go, why? No, it's too expensive. And I go, based on what? No, the money. I mean, and I'm like, do you know? Have you been to Soweto? Do you know Soweto?
Yeah.
You can't make that assumption, right? But based on the fact that you've looked at GDP and you've looked at, the high unemployment rates and so forth, you've already assumed that that person will never buy that.
That's so critical. That's so key. Like, what we think we know is what's holding us back.
Correct.
So we have this idea in our heads of what we know. It's not necessarily the truth, but it's the truth that we hold on to, that we use as our outlook on the market and life and whether it's an opportunity or not. But the reality of entrepreneurship is that you're in a much better space when you're in a space where you really don't know.
Exactly.
And it's an uncomfortable space to be in.
Of course. Of course it is.
Because we always want to operate from a base of knowledge.
Correct.
I know this product.
Yes.
I know this market.
Yes.
I know this,
But you're making it about you, right?
Exactly. And you're closing yourself up to so many opportunities, one, of learning and growing, and two, of other potential market spaces that you wouldn't have ordinarily thought of if you just didn't give your space to learn.
I mean, in your entrepreneurial journey, I'm sure you'd have seen, and this is the best example. So, every single person, when they introduce themselves, especially people in authority, what do they say? They say, "I am so and so, I am this."
It's titles, it's
right.
It's positions.
Because automatically, the moment there's a title, okay,
it demands.
I know where you are now. Okay, cool. He's important, and I need to treat him a certain way. And I live by the premise of, if you go to ShopRite tomorrow and you're at the till and Usisi there is chewing her chewing gum and is processing your stuff, do you think she cares that you are the CEO?
No.
Or you are the... she does not give a damn.
Yeah.
If you come there and you say, this price is wrong, she will tell you, it's right, sir. And you go, no, but it's wrong. No, sir, it's right. Did you check? She questions you. Did you check the price? And then you make it about yourself, right? Who the hell does she think she is? Does she know who I am? Does she know the responsibilities I have and all of that? And it's a shame because a lot of people are defined by their positions.
Yeah.
And in entrepreneurship, unfortunately, and as in sales, your ego, you have to leave it at the door.
You have to.
Because if you walk in with your ego, trust you me, that meeting is not going to go well. But you leave your ego at the door. I mean, you probably have seen this, where you walk into a meeting, you know more than the person you're chatting to, and the things that they're saying are false. You know for a fact that they are false, but you somehow try to find a way to tell them that they are wrong. You don't go, you're wrong, actually this is the truth. Because what does it serve? It serves no purpose.
And also another thing that, speaking in the same breath, is the mistake entrepreneurs make by grading their clients. Right? So I'll say, heck, if we can get business from this client that makes this turnover, damn it, all right? And then you get the client and you get the business and you feel great about yourself. And now your focus is on that client. Their client A, they have the biggest share. We have to, invest our time and efforts, understandably in that client. But you make the mistake then of demeaning your other clients and other potential business that now looks too small for you. All right? And what that does is it feeds this ego that actually becomes a burden for you to move forward. All right? where I've seen other entrepreneurs refuse to speak to people because those people weren't the decision makers.
Yes.
Right? Or you'll walk into an office and you won't greet the receptionist, and I'll have an appointment here at 10 with so-and-so, and because so-and-so is the director of Energizer and I have an appointment, I feel important.
Correct.
No? But the reality is, everywhere you go and how you treat people is a reflection again on your entire pitch. All right? Because the director of Energizer works at Energizer 5 or 8 to 5. They spend a lot of time with the receptionist.
Correct.
And if you were disrespectful to the receptionist, well, guess what the receptionist is going to say to the director? And say, hey, that guy that came here, didn't like the way he spoke to me already. Yeah. Even though your product was good, even though you can deliver better than your competitors, but the way you treat people speaks volumes.
But that's the thing.
But
that's why.
So that ego, you need to watch it.
But that's why I say, for me, entrepreneurship and sales is the same thing.
It's one and the same. Yeah.
You have to remember you're dealing with people. People who have egos, and everyone wants to feel important.
Yeah, everyone.
I mean, if you take a picture today,
everyone.
The first person you look for in a picture is yourself.
Yeah.
You don't go, oh, let me see what Thabo is.
Thabo looks so handsome.
No, you go, where am I?
Why do you take? Let's take another one. I didn't come out.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you remember that people are people, and my wife obviously laughs when I say this, but I always say to her, people are selfish.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Like, human beings ultimately are selfish, and they want priority number one will always be about themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you walk into an office and there's a receptionist, the receptionist doesn't just know the director, but they know all the other people. When you're conversing with the receptionist about who you are, because that's the other piece. People are so shy to talk about what they do, especially young entrepreneurs. They're so shy to say, this is what I do. They introduce themselves, and then you ask, so what do you do? I do a little bit of this,
Yeah,
and it's
very
like,
vague.
Oh.
And I think what happens in that space is where you mistaken modesty for humility.
Correct.
And you focus on modesty, and that becomes a crutch.
Correct.
All right. And
correct.
It's very difficult for anyone to do business with a limping person.
Exactly.
People don't want to save people; they want to make money.
Yeah.
So you got to present yourself in a way that is healthy enough for them to trust you with their money.
Correct.
So confidence is key, but there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. And there's a difference between modesty and humility.
Yes.
So you got to understand where to draw the line and make that line as distinct as humanly possible.
But you're always selling.
You're always.
I think whether you chatting to the taxi driver on the way home, or you're chatting to the receptionist, or you're talking to the CEO.
That's what I love about.
You always sell.
That's what I love about sales, because it's so people orientated, and in a world that's fast becoming less and less personal, it's going to be such a critical skill to have.
Yes.
And
it's going to become a competitive advantage.
And when you are able to have that skill, and I think the most important thing is to get into the habit where you're practicing.
Yeah.
I always tell entrepreneurs that everyone you meet, just picture they were your client.
Yeah.
Picture them, they had in their back pockets
the
contract that you were looking for, the tender that you were looking for, and whatever experience you gave them determine whether you get the business or not. Right? And when you picture everyone like that, one, you give everyone the same level of respect.
Correct.
And then it becomes a habit. You don't have to think about it. Naturally, you'll just be a person who's respectful, a person who's courteous, a person who's empathetic. And by the time you meet the real decision makers, you're not even trying. You're just being yourself.
Dude, I mean, by the time you meet the decision maker, you've been sold to the decision maker so much that you just have to do one thing that confirms what everybody's been saying.
Yeah.
And they go, I like that guy.
And that's the thing with networks, right?
Exactly.
Networks aren't, I know 100 CEOs, right? It's not how a network is built. Exactly. The mere fact that it's a network means that there are people connected that leads up.
Yes.
Right? So how are you connecting to a way that leads up?
So like, this concept of 6 degrees of separation. I have a friend who's cut it down and says it's actually 3 degrees of separation, and I actually believe him now. The more I think about it and the more things I see, it's absolutely true.
Yeah,
you are 6 people away from the person you want to meet.
Sure.
At the most, right? So let me use one example. So let's say from a DJing perspective, I wanted to meet who's the biggest DJ in the world?
Black Coffee or
Black Coffee. Black Coffee is 2 people away from me. Right. I know about 5-6 people who have a direct relationship with them, and it would be a matter of a call to them and an introduction.
100%.
Right.
And now that I know you,
it's now 3 people away. Right. It's now
I'm also like 3 people away from Black Coffee.
Do you see what I mean? So and I really believe that. So now, if you move with the concept that you are 3 people away from the person that you want to meet or you want to, shouldn't it change how you engage with
100%
people?
100%.
Because that person is 2 people away from the person you want to meet. Potentially, there's a
and it forces you to then have a respect, because you never know who you're talking to, who they know. You never know.
Correct. And look, parents taught us about respect, but I think that it was just because of culture, and that's how it was. But in honesty, I mean, that's what respect was is for, right? It's about, you live in a community and so forth, and you may not like someone, but respect is still
100%. Respect is like
2
that
different things.
It's like the thing that sharpens your axe.
Correct.
Like there's a saying that, I think it's Abraham Lincoln or someone said, if I have X amount of time to chop down a tree, I'll spend like 80 to 90% sharpening my axe.
Exactly.
And the problem that with sales, that there are a lot of people who are just swinging at trees.
Yes.
They're just swinging with blunt axes. They're just, and that's what gives sales the wrong perspective or perception. People think that it's about one message shared to millions of people, and whoever sticks, yay.
Exactly.
That's not what sales is. No one wants to be rashed.
No.
No one wants to be called in their cell phone to be sold a cell phone.
No.
Right? So when you sharpen your axe and understand people from a personal level, then you have a better chance of really building a relationship that's engaging.
Correct.
And from there finding opportunities to present your proposition.
And that's the summary of it. Like that's what sales is about. And it's, for me, that's why I'm in sales, because of that. Like I think and when I joined P&G, that was the right decision. Obviously how I joined it was for the wrong reasons, but it doesn't matter. That's
here you are doing
is,
phenomenally well,
and it's look, how can I put this? If you're an entrepreneur, I think be an entrepreneur. But don't think it's this easy thing.
No.
Nothing is easy.
Nothing.
If you think corporate is hard, trust me, entrepreneurship is probably twice as hard.
100%. And for me, there's entrepreneurship at different levels. All right. So there's entrepreneurship that's predominantly known where you run and own your own business.
Correct.
But there's entrepreneurship within established businesses.
Yes.
Just because I have a job with a contract and a boss and a fixed salary doesn't mean that I'm not an entrepreneur or can be entrepreneurial.
Exactly.
Like you said, which for me, like in its simplest form, just elegantly explains sales, just solving problems.
That's all it is.
And when you get into a mindset of solving problems, then you become much more entrepreneurial. And it becomes exciting. People like are quick to like put red marks and this is wrong, and but what are you doing to address that? If you're a woman in the workplace and you feel marginalized, all right, cool, valid. But what are you doing to address that? Correct. If the aircon is too cold every time, these people don't care about us blacks. All right, cool. You're a black person.
So what are you gonna do about it?
What are you gonna do about it?
Exactly.
All right, it's a problem. As an entrepreneur, how are you gonna solve it? And for me, that's what's exciting.
No, I think I completely agree. It's I think if you can get to a place where you don't have a Monday.
Yeah.
That's a great place to be.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I was there where Sunday was Monday. I dreaded Mondays, guys. I was just like, yo, tomorrow's Monday.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Now, it's just another day.
Just another day, you know.
You know, it's just another day.
Yeah.
For me to continually pursue what I need to pursue and what I'm trying to go for.
And for me, what's exciting, what makes me come alive when it comes to sales and engaging with people, is I love social sciences. So I'm fascinated by people. like people fascinate me. Like, I can sit in complete silence in a meeting and just observe.
Exactly.
Just observe how people interact, how they engage, how they speak, you know.
And you can decipher just from that what kind of person each person is.
Exactly. Exactly. And for me, what I've seen just by practicing that, it allows me not to fall into the trap of creating one message for everyone.
Yes.
You know? Where when you listen and pay attention, you realize just how unique and different people are. You know, and how, and you start having an appreciation for people's backgrounds and where they come from. And that gives you the space to have much more meaningful engagements, you know? Whereas if I took out my phone, went on Instagram and started DMing people, yo, Thabani, I've got these t-shirts, da-da-da. Yo, Sfeez, I've got these t-shirts, da-da-da. You know
what I want. You don't know what I want. You know what I mean?
100%, yeah. And it's this idea of going deep before going wide. You know, go deep, and once you're deep, look for opportunities to scale, and then from there you can exponentially multiply whatever sales strategy you have.
I mean, like the world is getting tougher and tougher with more brands coming in and more. I don't believe there's anything new, right? There's just stuff that's been bubbling that wasn't there at the right time. You know what I mean? But I believe that being more personable is making people feel like this thing is for me. That's how iPhone works, right? You can call iPhone people snobs all you want, right? But an iPhone person is not moving from iPhone. It makes them feel special. 100%. It makes them feel like they are in a different league. Even though Samsung, if we are being honest, I mean, I'm an iPhone user, but I can tell you now that a Samsung has better features
100%.
than an iPhone. Right?
What's crazy is that Samsung actually makes the screens for iPhones.
Imagine.
And what's even crazier is that even Tim Cook, like the CEO of Apple, said it for the past, I think, 5 to 6 years. From a phone perspective, Apple hasn't done anything revolutionary new.
No.
So when you look at iPhones 5-6 years ago and iPhone today, there's not like a huge difference.
No, there isn't.
Yet, if iPhone announces a new phone tomorrow, there will be lines for people waiting to buy that.
Exactly, because they've got it's a special group of people. They've created their own thing, right? And that's, I think, is where a lot of entrepreneurs fail and a lot of salespeople fail in that they don't make those people feel like
that's
this is for you.
That's powerful.
You know? And when you get that, then just go with it and run with it.
That's so key. And for me, and my last point in closing is what you're saying is so key, because as entrepreneurs, we get into a space whereby we need to make sales, right? Exactly. Sales are the lifeblood of a business.
Of course.
And you get into a space where now you start looking everywhere, all right, and trying to sell to everyone. And the reality is, you can't sell to everyone, and you shouldn't. Because one, you've got very limited resources, very limited. You don't have time. More importantly, you might not have the liquid cash flow to really start punting your product everywhere.
Look, it's important that you mention that. So I believe the lifeblood of an entrepreneur is cash. People chase sales, and having come here and running this organization now, it's like you can push as many sales as you want, but if there's no money in the bank, then you don't have a business, because you can't pay your vendors, you can't pay anyone, right? And you can't pay salaries and all of these things. So for me, yes, you need to drive sales, but 60%, make sure you're getting paid and you're getting the money in the bank. Cash flow is the lifeblood.
100%.
And guys need to remember that. I think a lot of guys forget that.
That's exactly
and
it.
that's why they sign 90-day payment terms.
Crazy
and
terms.
All of these other terms. But honestly,
there's a difference between what you invoice and what's in your bank account.
You can't pay people with invoices.
Can't.
you pay them with the cash. So guys need to make sure they focus on that piece and make sure that they've got money in the bank and they're collecting cash. If they have to hire someone who's gonna hound people to pay to get them paid, I would rather hire that person than another salesperson. I'd rather hire the person who's gonna chase and hound for money to come in. Because that's the lifeblood of the business, and that's what makes a lot of businesses fail.
All right. Cool. Okay, cool. And my last question, all right. So, from years back when you were a kid in Durban to where you are today, where, you've got a lot of pedigree, you've literally been on the road, you've led people, you're now leading teams. For anyone who's watching this, a young person especially, big eyes, ambitious, who one day also wants to really, make a name for themselves. Might not be sitting where you're sitting, but maybe they have a business they want to start. Maybe, they want to take their sales career to the next level. Maybe there's initiatives they want to pioneer. Maybe they want to be mentors. Whatever it is, what key things can you share with them? What life lessons can you give to them? What do you live by? That they can easily apply in their lives.
The biggest one is I'm a human being, right? So therefore I make mistakes. And with those mistakes, I need to forgive myself for those mistakes that I make. And understand that I have another day to try and correct them. So that's a big one. The other one is, it's not about you. It's not about you. If you're going to mentor someone, it's not about you. If you're going to start a business, it's not about you. Anything that you do, it's not about you. It's about the other person. It's about the service that you're providing, And you can't provide a service if it's about you, right? So really, they need to understand that it's not about them, right? The third piece, especially for those who are in corporate and wanting to move up, is that people need to know what you're doing. It's not about going and saying, this is, like I said, oh, this is what I'm doing, etc., etc. But, you can get feedback from people on the stuff that you're doing. And in a way, they also start seeing what you're doing without you actually telling them. But actually, at the same time, you are improving what you've done because they're giving you feedback and they're giving you sort of like some coaching advice, so literally. And then the last one is find a mentor. It's crazy to say I want to go to, how do I put it, Kuruman, and I don't have a map. That doesn't make sense. You'll never get there, or you'll take the long way around, and by using boards. But if you have a map or you have a GPS that tells you this is the quickest route, why not take it? And that's what a mentor does. And I think with those four,
sure,
you're bound to be successful.
Yo, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me.
No, man, it's unbelievable, guys. I hope you took a lot of notes. If you haven't, this is one video that you're gonna want to watch probably like 4 or 5 times, because there's so much wisdom, and sales is so important across the board, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. In your business, where you're working, you are sitting at the desk working because there is turnover coming in. There is first the top line that makes everything else come to play. And when you understand that, blown away. So please make sure that you do watch this again. You do engage with all the other content. You know, check out Thabani on social media. You know, I'll leave some of his stuff in the description below. He's got a hashtag that he lives by, live your best life, that I really find a lot of inspiration from every single day. But thank you so much for watching this. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all the dope content we'll be putting together. There's a bell notification that you can click on to make sure that you constantly stay updated every time we put stuff out there. If you're offline, make sure that you switch on. And like I keep trying to tell you, I promise you, it's gonna be a movie. One love.